This is an anime public service announcement. The so-called Big Three is not a title given to anime and manga based on any data whatsoever. When most people talk about the Big Three, they end up saying stuff like, oh, they're the quote-unquote best anime and manga that came out in the early 2000s. But when people talk about it like that, they don't define what best means, and they don't give you a hard time period where they're measuring data. Because no matter what metric you take, that data doesn't hold up. Sales, popularity polls, amount of chapters written, amount of products produced, ancillary sales of those products, even rankings on fan websites. No matter what metric you take, one of these, usually Bleach, but one of these ends up falling out. Depending on what metric you use, you would see things like Hunter x Hunter and Detective Conan enter the Big Three. So again, I want to tell you what the Big Three actually is. It was a marketing initiative. These three properties were the properties that were doing pretty well in Japan and that Shonen Jump, one company, thought might do well in America to establish a Japanese media presence. Anime and manga were still kind of the Wild West over in the West, and the goal was to change anime's presence from random yellow sub tapes found at like a record store to a lucrative business over in the West. That lucrative business, by the way, was for Shonen Jump. This was one company's actions. And so they considered sales and popularity, but they also considered how easy it would be to onboard someone into a series if they, say, caught an episode in the middle and had to catch up. These were the three properties that Shonen Jump thought were the most easily consumable. And while there is some correlation between easy consumption and high sales or high popularity, it's not a perfect correlation. So when people say stuff like, you can't change the Big Three, or there is no new Big Three, or you can't let a new anime into the Big Three, they're not saying that whatever anime or manga you want to let in is bad. And in fact, if they did their research, they're not even saying that Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach are necessarily better. They're just saying that this is a historical fact. A single company chose three properties to put the majority of their budget behind when pushing new properties to the West in the early 2000s, and these are the three properties that company, Shonen Jump, chose. Like, it's just history. It's not popularity, it's not sales, it's just history. It's also important to note that we, the fans, came up with the name of the Big Three. Shonen Jump didn't start using it till much, much later. But now, when they do use it, which is rare, it's to refer to this marketing initiative. So, like, you could speculate about what properties deserve to be in the Big Three as much as you want. Like, if you're saying, if I was running Shonen Jump, I would have marketed this series to the West. And there are a lot of good arguments there. But as for which ones are in the Big Three, that's just history. That's just historical fact.